Well, hi everybody, welcome to Afterburner. I'm Bill Whittle. In 1729, Jonathan Swift, author of Gulliver's Travels, penned his incendiary pamphlet called A Modest Proposal, in which he responded to those critical of helping the starving poor of Ireland with the modest proposal that the solution to the famine simply lay in the starving Irish eating their children. Now, of course, those were harsh and primitive times. Today, the very idea of eating children is too repugnant to even discuss in public. These are progressive times. We don't discuss eating children in 2014 because, as we know, in this vegan age, meat is murder. Now, Jonathan Swift, an Irishman intensely critical of Great Britain, would be relieved to find that in modern Britain, no one is eating babies or even talking about it. They're merely shoveling them into furnaces in order to heat the buildings. Because, according to a report in The Telegraph, no less than 15,000 aborted fetuses have been incinerated at hospitals as clinical waste, and in several cases, 797 babies at Addenbrooke, 1,101 at Ipswich. No one will know ever really the true totals. But in those cases, fetal remains were used in waste-to-energy plants to heat the hospitals. Now, just so there's no confusion here, the United Kingdom's National Health Service, that horror of single-payer socialized health care where patients go untreated for days in hallways and are forced to drink week-old water from flower vases just to stay alive, NHS has shoveled dead babies into furnaces to heat their buildings. Got that? We all crystal clear on that? Now, of course, as with all of the other septic infections, misdiagnosis, fatal waiting periods, understaffing, cruel and torturous personnel, abusive patients, and all of the rest of the storied history of the NHS, this is an outrage. And a few isolated incidents only, and a sternly worded letter has been issued, and nothing like this will ever happen again until it does. This isn't a fluke. This is socialism. Human children, I might add, are an extremely progressive source of fuel. They are produced by irresponsible, promiscuous sex, so that's good. They can be either used as a fuel or converted into a lifetime of cash payments. They're clean burning, and best of all, not only do they emit very little carbon of their own, but burning babies completely eliminates their lifetime carbon footprint. Think of all the climate that won't change since they won't have to be fed anymore. It's win-win-win all the way straight down to hell. You know, there's only one national level American politician who's come out in favor of laws allowing doctors to kill babies that have survived abortions. And don't worry, I'm not one of those hateful, racist, right-wing nut jobs who's going to lay this charge at the feet of President Obama, because obviously it wasn't President Obama. It was State Senator Obama. 3 times he voted against a bill protecting an infant that survived an abortion. Now, progressives point out that he stated that he supported the protections for those children, but that the law as written would have opposed and undermined Roe v. Wade by recognizing surviving fetuses as humans. Which means that State Senator Obama was arguing that if they survived the procedure, they were humans and should be protected, but if they didn't, then they were fetuses and shouldn't. If you're having trouble understanding this, let's go back to the Middle Ages. If you bound and tied a suspected witch and then chuck her in the water, well, if she floats, the water rejects her as guilty and she must be burned as a witch. But if she drowns, turns out she was innocent after all. Now, President Obama is working devilishly hard to bring single-payer, DMV-style, IRS-enforced medical care here to the backward colonies so long, and I might add embarrassingly, lagging behind our sophisticated baby-burning cousins over in Europe. Here, in our rustic, unsophisticated little republic, where the quaint idea of the individual, a temporary, now outdated invention of the age of reason, was given a temporary home here on Earth by men such as this. Thomas Jefferson, the creator of Barack Obama's Democratic Party, and with that primitive, superstitious manner that's so unique and charming and frustrating to greater minds, we rubes decided that each of these individuals were not a green source of renewable energy to save money for vote-buying programs to keep bureaucrats in power, but rather unique individual people who, in the words of this very man, were endowed by their creator. The creator can best be imagined as a sort of chief department administrator with a large suite of discretionary powers. And they were endowed by him with certain inalienable rights. And before the right to liberty, the right to do pretty much whatever you want, and the right to pursue happiness, the right to your own individual human existence that makes you worth something more than a source of inexpensive heating fuel, well, before all of that was the right to life itself. Now, defenders of that right are mocked and ridiculed, of course, as Lena Dunham recently did on a Saturday Night Live sketch, as bad-smelling, nerdy, ill-dressed losers who needed to get with this kind of climate change Planned Parenthood alliance of, shall we say, choice renewable energy sources. But she might want to be careful, this fat and fatuous moral pygmy and intellectual imbecile, because when it comes to energy density per cubic meter, and for that reason alone, because I can't see any other, she is in fact an extremely valuable human resource.